All right, we got a huge performance from a couple of players here in this game between the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. The game was pretty close all the way to the end, just a couple of possessions between them. But the Warriors out-executed the Grizzlies. In fact, the Grizzlies kind of messed things up at the end. They were within a possession, and then they had a 5-second violation. And things were really close, and things could have gotten ugly, actually. There was a stretch in the game where I think the Warriors were up by like 15 points or something like that. So they were starting to stretch the lead, but to their credit, the Grizz fought back valiantly. They did a nice job to stay in the game and keep it close for the duration of it, even after that initial burst from Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in the second quarter. So to kind of start things out, the Warriors came out pretty hot, 31 points in the first quarter. The Grizz had 25, and then it was kind of more of the same. The Warriors stayed hot. The Grizzlies couldn't really stop the Warriors from getting what they wanted. Now, the Grizz had an excellent third quarter, where defensively they were doing much better, and then offensively they were scoring. But in the fourth quarter, the lead was just tough to overcome and then try to take over and capture the lead from the Warriors. The Warriors aren't going to beat themselves. The Warriors have championship pedigree. The Warriors have leadership. They have veterans with experience. And, you know, when I was watching the game and looking at the main plays, the Grizzlies were giving up points in transition. And that's just something you can't have in the playoffs. You know, so that was something I noticed. I think between the inexperience of the Grizzlies and I think possibly, I don't know, just they didn't have the guys. I think defensively they didn't have what they needed to keep up with Steph, and they have a couple of good defenders in Memphis. But I think just collectively you saw the way that Curry and Butler went off. You know, they were too hard to stop. Draymond Green had 4 points and 6 rebounds and 10 assists, so he was dishing. 3 blocks, 3 steals and a block, actually. Jimmy had 38 points, knocked down a couple of threes, 12 of 20 from the floor, 40 points logged in this game, right? Huge impact. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. And then Steph went crazy, 37 points, knocked down 6 threes on 13 attempts, 9 of 22 from the field, and 13 of 13 from the free throw line. By the way, Jimmy took 18 free throws, made 12 of them. But that's really the big games from the Warriors. You know, Gary Payton off the bench gave you 12. Quentin Post gave you 11 off the bench. Those are nice additions, but Pods only gave you 3. Moses Moody, 9 points, right? So a decent game. But just, it was the Jimmy show. You know, there were stretches where Jimmy actually took over the game, and the same thing with Steph. Stretches where he was just nailing threes. All right, now for the Grizz, their starters actually did a pretty nice job of scoring some points, some balance throughout the lineup. 18 points, Jaren Jackson Jr., 14 points for Zach Edey, 22 from Morant, and then 30 from Desmond Bane, which is a nice game for him. And then with respect to Zach Edey, he did the rest of the work. 17 rebounds with 7 offensive glass, 2 assists. He did have 4 turnovers. They were really giving him a hard time. John Morant turned the ball over 5 times. You just can't do that in these types of matchups. So they're going to go home. Tough loss to the Warriors. They were in the game. Tough game away, you know, to play in Golden State. But to give them credit, they were fighting. And I don't know if I want to spend too much time on the Magic game because it just wasn't that close. The Magic defeated the Hawks 120-95. And with respect to that game, at least from the box score, what I could tell, you know, I watched most of the game, but the Hawks just weren't shooting well. I mean, there were stretches of the game where the Hawks were in it, you know, in the early part of the game, up until like the fourth quarter where the Magic just kind of ran away with it. Atlanta had a good third quarter, kind of get them back into things because the Magic got out ahead in the first. I think I saw like a 15-plus point lead in the first quarter. You know, that's just too much. It's too hard to overcome double-digit leads to teams that are probably having more talent than you, have, I think, a better primary player. Like, I'm taking Paolo Banchero over Ice Trae. That's just me personally. Even though I think the Hawks have a couple of good defenders, I think the Magic collectively are a better defensive team. So the Magic shot better. The Magic clearly rebounded better. They were plus 12 on the glass. Offensively, they had 3 more offensive rebounds, which gives you additional chances. I can't say that the Hawks turned the ball over more or anything like that. That's not the case. I think it was just the shooting, right? 4 of 21 from 3, guys, for the Hawks. It's not going to get it done. And, you know, points in the paint. You know, you're looking at the Magic getting whatever they wanted. I saw Paolo getting to the hole. I saw him, you know, getting free throws and being aggressive even when the shot wasn't falling. He was getting to the free throw line, getting his points. I kind of projected the Magic being the Hawks, so no surprises there. But anyways, back to the Warriors game. Playoff Jimmy is a thing, right? We know that. Steph can be a playoff riser at times, and I think the two of them collectively are very dangerous in these playoffs. They're going to go on to play the Rockets. That's going to be a huge matchup. You could see what the Warriors can be. I mean, it is 100% facts that the Warriors are going to be dangerous. They have a decent team defense. They've got leadership. They've got guys that have, championship pedigree, and they're not going to beat themselves. And they're tough at home. We'll have to see how they do in a series against the Rockets, where you got to win some games in Houston. I think that's the only way for them to have a chance. But anyways, tell me what you guys thought of these games. Hawks kind of looked at a place. I think the Magic are just the better team. And with respect to the Warriors, I got to give the Grizzlies respect for fighting valiantly, and you get performances from a couple guys, but just too much. I just think the Warriors are just better, and I think Jimmy's better, and I think Steph's better. And I think, just if I could say anything of solace to the Grizz, they played hard, they played valiantly, but Steph just got too loose. The window that Steph needs to score is so small, and they just weren't able to keep up with that there. And shout out to Desmond Bane for a great game and those guys, but just too much. Playoff Jimmy too much. Steph too much. Warriors advance. Magic advance. And kind of looking at this bracket now, I think the Magic are going to play the Celtics, so that's their consolation. Fun times. We're going to get the Bulls and the Heat tonight, and then the Golden State Warriors are going to play the Rockets. That'll be the 2-7 matchup, and then we've got the Kings and the Mavs tonight. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought of the games. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.